Hi everyone, in this video we're going to look at how to solve right angle triangles. Now remember, solving a triangle means getting the values of all three angles and all three sides. So if we look at our first example, we have one side and two angles. So before I do anything here, I'm going to label this triangle as triangle ABC. Now we have angle A. The first thing I'm going to do is calculate angle B because that is actually quite easy. So we're going to start by calculating angle B. Now remember, in any triangle, we know that all three sides have to add up to 180. So angle B has to be equal to 180 minus the 90 minus the other angle we have, which is 37. That means that angle B will be 53 degrees. Next, we can work on calculating one of our sides. So I'm going to use the angle that we already have, the 37, and I'm going to label this side as A. So how do we calculate lowercase a? Well, we can do that using our trigonomic ratios. So remember SOHCAHTOA. We are trying to relate two sides. So let's think about what sides we have. Relative to angle A, which is the 37-degree angle, the 12 will be our adjacent side. Side A will be our opposite side, and the hypotenuse will be the longest side. So if we're trying to relate angle 37 to the opposite side and the adjacent side, we're looking at tan, which means tan of 37 degrees would be equal to A over 12. That means that A is just equal to 12 times tan of 37 degrees, or A is equal to approximately 9. Finally, we're left with our last side. So I'm going to call that side C, and that is actually quite easy to calculate as well. We can calculate that value using Pythagorean theorem. So our last step here is calculate side C. Now remember, Pythagorean theorem says that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. We know that a is equal to 9, so we have 9 squared plus 12 squared, and that is going to be equal to c squared. Let's calculate what this is. So 9 squared plus 12 squared, I'm just going to put those straight into my calculator, giving us 225. So we get c squared is equal to 225. And then we can take the square root of both of them. 225 actually square roots quite nicely, and we get c is equal to 15. So if we were to add everything back into this triangle, we know that the longest side, the hypotenuse, is going to be 15. And we know that our adjacent side is going to be equal to 9. Let's do this for one more triangle down here. So same thing, I'm going to start by labeling it ABC. And let's take a look at what we have. So again, we have one angle and one side. We actually have the hypotenuse in this case. So 22 would be the H, the adjacent side would be up here, and the opposite side is over here. We're going to start it the same way. We're going to calculate that missing angle, so angle A. So calculating that angle, again, quite easy. Angle A would be equal to 180 minus 90 minus 21, which means that angle A is equal to 69 degrees. Then we can think about how we relate two of our sides. So let's say we want to find the opposite side, and we have the hypotenuse. If we try to find that side, so find opposite side, we are trying to relate the opposite and the hypotenuse. So if we look at SOHCAHTOA, we're going to use sine because sine relates opposite and hypotenuse. So sine of our angle, which is 21 degrees, has to be equal to the opposite side, so side O, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 22. Solving for that, we get O is equal to 22 times sine of 21 degrees. And putting that into our calculator, we get side O is equal to approximately 7.9. Lastly, we can find our third side using Pythagorean theorem. Now, in this case, remember, we have our hypotenuse already. So when we calculate that third side, we are looking for side A in our Pythagorean theorem formula. So a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. We know that we are trying to find a squared. B squared is 7.9. C squared is going to be equal to 22 squared. Let's calculate that. So 7.9 squared works out to approximately 62.41. 22 squared is equal to 484. Now we can isolate for a squared by subtracting 62.41 from both sides, and that will give us a squared is equal to 421.59. Now remember, this is a squared. We need to get a, so we're going to square root both sides, and that is going to give us a is equal to 20.5 approximately. So that will be our last side on this triangle. If we scroll up to our triangle, we can make our last side 20.5. And then this triangle has all three sides and all three angles, meaning it is completely solved.